Hello guys, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. All right guys, finally got our trend day, the day we have been waiting for, but the day was really good if you executed the system. Our system worked flawlessly on most of the names. We were mostly traders were done. I was done in first hour and a half, but huge winners today. Tesla home run winner. We'll recap that. Semiconductors really ran hard today. Even the smaller names were pretty good today. So, anyways, if you missed the move today, watch this recap so that you never again miss such a big trend day. So before I start, let's do a quick recap for anybody who's new to me, new to my YouTube, or he's new to our community. So all these recaps and all these teachings that I share from any trade ideas, any day trades, any swing ideas, or any long-term investment setups that I share with you are either from anything that I tweet or share on my Twitter, X, in my previous YouTube videos, or mostly from our communities. We trade a repeatable system that I have been teaching for many years freely on my website, and now on YouTube, on Twitter, and now in our community, that thousands of traders across the world trade the system to trade consistently. They have become consistent with our system, which I have created this system with special trend indicators that's helping the traders to trade. So every morning, me and my team, we create a game plan for the day. We make this game plan in the pre-market. I make this game plan live in the pre-market, where we have the news plays, the earning upgrades, the downgrades, market index setup plays, and any we also have low floors, IPOs. So we have all this on our game plan, what stocks can move. So I provide this game plan in the pre-market to my community. And then we trade based upon this game plan and using our system, because we have repeatable setups. A system is how you trade, setup is what you trade. When those setups trigger, we buy, sell, short. Based upon that, we trade our system. So that's what I cover in these recaps. If you watch these recaps, you will learn the system. Not only that, we also share something called day 2, day 3 repeatable strategy setups. I share these day 2, day 3 setups every day in the community. So this is a different setup, which are based upon the news or stock had a day prior, or yesterday or a few days ago. And this is also provided to the community members, and also tweet out this freely some few days a week for my Twitter followers. We also provide the levels for the crypto stocks. You can trade the crypto stocks, or you can even trade Bitcoin based upon our system and based upon our levels. You can trade futures with our system. We provide the future levels for future traders to trade futures. And in addition to that, we provide daily levels for SPY, QQQ, IWM, VIX, Apple, Microsoft, all those index stocks which you can trade using Ripster EMA Cloud and using the levels and the guidance that we provide in the pre-market. Not only that, once the market opens, we have thousands of traders on our trading floor, sharing trade ideas all day long, trying to find the opportunities to make money in the market, keeping the losers small and the winners big. I'm on the voice first few hours of the market open if needed. I'm usually online all day, but we mostly, on a day like today, we get done early. We have a bunch of scanners in our community, which are free. We have about $600-700 worth of scanners. We have 3 option flow scanners, stock scanners. We have breaking news alerts, audio stock alerts, with many other tools which are freely available. We have Bookmap for traders to use in the community, so they don't have to subscribe them separately. I usually share my guidance live on the voice, and also I share my guidance in the community in my dedicated feed, guiding the traders through various setups. If I'm taking any setup, even if I don't take most of the setups, I still guide my community. Thousands of traders in the community. We are one of the biggest educational community. We are not an alert service, and we try, and every day I teach live how the system is working, how the setup is working. So that's what we try to do. So anyways, that being said, introduction, let's start with the 2 days recap, and I will walk you through all the plays that the community nailed today, losers and winners. All right, let's first start with SPY and QQQ and see how we did in the SPY today. So coming into today, SPY was gapping up. So let's see what was going on. What was our pre-market planning? This is the daily chart of the SPY. As you see, SPY broke out of the downtrend and broke this range, this previous level. and was gapping up. When something is gapping up, you always have to be real careful to trade the market so that you don't get caught up in the gap fill, the profit taking. So how do you know that? Your system will tell you if the gap is going to hold or it's not going to hold. So a few things you're going to look at is the clouds, are the first candle holding the clouds. The second thing you're going to look at is the pre-market high. If we hold the cloud, we push over the pre-market high, that means the gap is holding and it's the long is going to work, right? So initial amateur move, we had some profit taking. And I said that to confirm the push today, we need the pre-market high break. So as soon as the pre-market high breakout push, so that was a confirmation to get long at 571.60 or 571.70. And not only that, you were supposed to use VIX, my VIX strategy. Go back, watch other videos. And once the VIX breaks down those key levels, you can be long on the markets or you can be long on the index futures. So let's see what was the plan here in the pre-market on SPY and QQQ. VIX under 19, bullish bias. Any VIX bounce need to reject 1950-20. So as you see that, what VIX did at the open was right away it stayed under 19 and it never really bounced. So that gave us a conviction that we are going to long the market because VIX is breaking that big level. You see it could not push over that 19 level. So that gave us the long. So I told everybody after the first 10 minutes that SPY and ES longs to MTF clouds, right? So what is the MTF clouds? Those are our daily Ripster clouds, the indicator that I build based upon the daily EMAs, that the first target is always that. And, we pushed into that, held the trend, and then we started to flag. I told everybody we are flagging. So SPY QQQ is flagging. And then we got the flag breakout. You hold your position and then you 574. You see that we just made $2 per share profit and 60 to 70% on the options. Same was for QQQ. If you look at the ES futures, and we will see that we pushed right from 557.90 all the way to 5800, which gave you decent amount of move to make some profits on ES futures as well, right? So that was the long on the market. You can see the pre-market planning. We use the VIX, and you can see my guidance step by step that how to trade the market, how to trade the gap up, gap, and go setups, right? So no hindsight, no BS. Just the system. The system told us the gaps are going to hold this amateur candle. You can always trade the amateur candle. It's a little risky because you're not sure if it's going to push higher. But once we push over here, the next candle dip is what you buy. And the same thing here, you buy. You see that 10 AM held the clouds. This is your 10 AM longs. And then you take it all the way up and you make your profits on SPY, QQQ, or ES futures or NASDAQ futures long. So that was the winner in the community. And we have talked about it many times, guys. It's all about VIX. We often talk about it is all about VIX. Once VIX breaks under 2021, the market is going to push. Now, today, once VIX broke 18, that gave us a little more conviction to stay long. And you see that once VIX broke 18, we did a midday bounce on SPY. This is called the midday 3450 bounce setup, right? So midday 3450 bounce setup, and from that 3450 we pushed right higher to make a nice profitable long day. Your first trade here, you get out here. Your second long trade is the midday longs. All my students, all my traders know these systems. I teach them day in, day out. I cover them in my SPY and QQQ webinar for living, and in that webinar, we also have the ES Futures webinar where I covered this as well. Let's go to the next one. All right, so next one we're going to look at is Tesla, which was another great winner for us on Friday as well. If you didn't watch it, just go back, watch the Tesla lot of Friday trades, how we traded that Tesla lot of Friday. So let's look at the daily chart first before we go into this deep down. Yesterday, on our official Tanner charts, if you don't follow Tanner charts, make sure you follow Tanner charts. I posted this, your team posted this setup that what is Tesla doing. So this was Tesla was doing yesterday, right? Daily charts. You have to analyze the daily chart. We are breaking out of this range. It's 2 weekly hammers. If you go to the weekly, you will see that. But basically, we're breaking out this range. So that tells us that 250 push will be a long, right? So that turns that we are starting to reverse. The MTFs were 1 hour bullish. The next second one were about to turn bullish. Now, you see that by end of the day, second one, MTF Cloud also turned bullish. Now you tell me, hey, Rip, it was already over 250 by the time market opened up. So then how would you trade from your chart setup that you shared? So no problem here. Let's go to the pre-market planning here. Let's see the pre-market planning on Tesla. Big gap, pullback ideal for long, no long under 256, bullish buys, MTF above. So our plan was that if we broke the 256, look carefully here, if we broke the 256, then will be a no-go. But you see that, right? Where is it bouncing from? Right from the 256 area. Right from the 256 area. And that's exactly the level I mentioned in the pre-market. And once I saw that pushing, and once the market was strong, and I said held clouds long versus 256. Remember, the 256 area was the same area that I gave in the pre-market for the planning, so all the traders know. So our first target was 265, and then ghost options come with some unusual flow. Unusual flow always helps. On a day like today, you want to watch the flow. If there's a strong flow, you want to watch it. I was looking on the flow as well. These 300 lottos, which went crazy, they came in at 64 cents, and they went up pretty high today by end of the day, and that's how the traders nailed it. They probably let's see here, they were for 328. Let's look at the 328s here. We're going to look at these 300 lotto calls. They were always risky, but if you risked 100%, you made 4 times your money already, right? They started from that 40, 60, 70 cents. They went 150%. There's always risk in them because they're going to lose the values as well. But anyways, that was the flow that came in. And now let's go back and let's see here like how we traded Tesla. So anyways, I told the traders to long Tesla was 256. That means 256 is your risk level. The first target I gave was 265 because that was my MTF. The second, as we started to move up, I told everybody to move the stops, break even. Then my next target was 270, and we pushed over 270 as well, and we hit our 270 target. Then we pushed higher towards 275, and that's fine. Then we pulled back. Our stops were still at 270, right? So once we pushed our stops at 270, because 270 was a previous high. You see it right here, previous high. That's the low. That's the low, and that's the strategy that you could use for that trade here. So and then we started to push, and we cleared the 270 seller. Then we moved our stops up 265. Then we moved our stops 271. We basically never broke the 512 clouds, so there was no reason for us to get out of Tesla. We were looking at all our tools. You just if let's say you were long here, 100 shares or 500 shares or 1,000 shares, you already made 3, 4, 5 grand, and now you just let the few shares or few options roll, because you're going to make much more on those options. As the trend continues to push higher, you will make the profit on those options. You do not cut, because you have to let your runners run. So this long for us this morning on Tesla, it was almost by end of the day $15 per share profit, and risking $4 or $5 profits. That was a good risk to reward trade, and the options went couple 100%. That's how the traders were so green today. We had only 15% traders red in the community, and everybody did really good, because we have our system to guide us how to trade this long. So anyways, that was Tesla. No BS, no hindsight. Pre-market guidance pretty clear, and then live guidance pretty on spot, and of course a lot of my guidance is on the voice. And then we got our beautiful all-day trend on Tesla, and a lot of traders are swinging it. On the daily chart, we have next breakout over 283 area right here, and then we'll see what happens. And we can continue to push if market stays strong. Any pullback towards 260 area or 265 are worth buying. And if you remember, we were shorting Tesla when this was happening. We were shorting every day, but now it's time to long. The 1 hour MTF is also turned bullish. Now we will be looking for the next MTF, which is a little further higher. But any pullback 270, 265, you need to hold. So next one we're going to look at is FedEx. So the FedEx is a part of our day 2, day 3 repeatable strategy. Most of the traders, if you watch my videos, you know this strategy. You know how we longed FedEx on Friday, and this morning FedEx gave another long. So if you look here, what the FedEx did was, we had 1 hour resistance above, support was this, resistance pivot was this. It was earning day to set up, and as soon as it pushes over the MTF cloud, it gets along, and as it breaks those levels that I provide in the pre-market planning, it was our number one setup. There was a reason I gave it a number one setup, and 233.58, you take it long, and it was long all day, until we broke that 241, this area. This is where you exit. You long at 237, 236s, and you hold it all the way. So another beautiful winner in the community. So next we're going to look at is MSTR. So again, MSTR and all these names, they go in hand with the Bitcoin, right? So let's see what MSTR was doing. Let's go over pre-market planning here. So when the market is strong, usually Bitcoin is strong. But MSTR also had news. MSTR acquired 6,900 Bitcoins. And the Bitcoin was also strong. And then the SPY was strong. Then everything is strong. When the morning I noticed that MSTR was much better setup than coin, and that's when I gave it long in the community. Coin was over 200 breakout. We'll look at that as well, but let's look at what MSTR did first before we go on the coin. So anyways, coin triggered long right when this swipes up. This is where coin triggered long, and it break out. We also have the crypto levels, and then it got a pre-market push, and then it pushed higher. So you get out, that's fine. When it stops you out, you get out. But then came a midday long setup. So that's the setup I gave the traders right here. You see the midday long setup. So this was this one, 512 curl. This is the 512 reclaim, 512 curl, and the breakout setup. This is the breakout that I was talking about. And this is where you long, and you put your stops at 326, right? You see, we were right there at 127, and then with this breakout was happening, and you buy 328, $2 stops. Your first target is high of the day. We hit that, never broke 512s, and I set price alerts so that my traders in the community can know that if we are hitting those targets or not, and we did hit those targets. Once we pushed out of here, I told everybody to move your stops to 330. Why 330? Because these were the candles which were having sub 330, and you made another couple of bucks, actually $4 by end of the day. So this long gave us another $8 per share profit by end of the day. So that's a midday setup. That's fine if you miss the mornings, and you have to stop out. These candles are explosive, dangerous, right? The problem is if you add here, then you're risking too much. You already know the 512s is right there. So you stay away. You see, I mentioned it 127. I did not mention. I could have mentioned it here, but I mentioned this right here because our stops hit at 323 earlier. You see the 512 stops hit, but then we got the call breakout again, and that's when we longed it again. So that was our MSTR, guys. Today, let's go to the next one. So let's also look at coin. So coin was, it was a little choppy, little late bloomer, but it did come through later in the day, but it was a choppy all day. So in this case, MSTR was much better. You couldn't really use the 512s because some rare scenarios you will see these choppy candles. Then you have to use 3450 risk, or you have to draw your, the trend line. It's important to understand this chop. Lot of the setups were chopping because then you will say, hey, Rip, the clouds didn't work for me, and that's fine. Some stocks will do that. Look at what Tesla was doing, other names were doing. You see that barcode. That's why I was no setup. I was not really interested in coin, although we got the 200 breakout again. Up, down, up, down, up, down. What is this, right? So no, if you add here, stop out here, add here, stop out here, add, you will lose money, and that's fine. We will have these kind of setups, and that's why I was not really interested in the coin. That's why I said no setup. But yes, if you longed here and you held all the way with the 3450 clouds, you did okay, because now you have to look at this support as your risk. You can't just use clouds, otherwise you will chop. See, again, I always say the clouds are not the first. The first is support resistance, the cloud comes second. So that was a coin. Let's go to the next one. So all the semiconductors were really strong today. They were, really good. Once the QQQ start to break out, they really became strong. And NVIDIA was our top one. Let's look at NVIDIA here. So let's see what was the plan on NVIDIA and the pre-market planning. The plan on NVIDIA was it's near daily 2021 MTF cloud, trade versus MTF. Long buys, no go under 119.40. no go under 119.40. And if you see that, what NVIDIA really did was it never broke 119.40 or 119.50. So NVIDIA was not that great along at open, but you have to be a little flexible, right? I gave this 34. Why did I give 34.50 stops? Because I knew that NVIDIA, it's close by and NVIDIA can always push there and bounce. So you have to give, you see, I never told traders to stop out, and I said it was not doing anything. It was a break-even trade for, I said, went nowhere, break-even so far, 119.50 stops, right? We were, as it bounced it again, then you put your stops at 19.50. But then finally we came the HOD breakout, your patience paid up, and then we start to move our stops up. Just like I explained, keep moving the stops to 120.50, move the stops to 121, keep moving your stops up. So so that's amazing the way you need to watch the cloud system. So it won't always push the gray market highs. So you can't complain, oh, I take it go down, because these are different personalities, but the system always will work. That's fine, but the MTF system worked. The bounce on 34.50 worked, and I said 34.40 stops. So if you took the long here and you ignored in the morning, you took a 10 a.m. long, you made a nice profit. So that was with the Ripster MTF cloud and 34.50 clouds, nice long. And if you see that, it stopped you out here and it chopped all day. So you see, this is the chop. This is the chop. The main move was done here. Setup was this, and long into that, stop out here, make your profit, move on. So there was a bunch of other setups as well on Taiwan Semi. You're not going to spend too much time here. You can go look at the levels we provide on Taiwan Semi, and you can look at AMD. Again, another MTF breakout. This was a little flag. You could literally long anything with the system. Yes, I was focused on NVIDIA, but we trade all these the stocks in the community. AMD being always like POS, but today was really good. You see how the traders are trading those setups, right? Sidhu is trading MTF, DJ trading Govind, Herschel, Nityanda flagging. So traders are trading the setups. That's how they are making profitable trades. That's how only 15% traders were red in the community. So that's the beauty. That's the beauty of the system. It's not the alerts. Yes, I guide, but I teach. And that's how we make profitable trades. That's how the system has changed so many lives. Right? It's changed my life, right? It's changed your life as well. So make sure you use the system. And AMD, Taiwan Semi, all these were beautiful. And you always have to analyze the daily chart. You can see that AMD turned 1 hour bullish. When did it turn 1 hour bullish? It turned 1 hour bullish the Friday, and it turned the first MTF bullish long before that. So you see the first MTF turned bullish, and today the second MTF cloud turned bullish. So MTF clouds, I'll release these labels for swing. These are swing labels are different than the day trade labels. So you use these swing labels, it will give you a good indication of your longs, or you should stay away. All right, so let's look at some other plays. This morning, the space stocks were pretty strong. So if you look at the space sector here, let's see here, space sector. So the space sector was, where is it? Let's look here, RKLB. Oh yeah, that was the earning from LUNR, right? Another space stock. So watch the space stocks and RKLB. So I mentioned in the pre-market to watch both of them. LUNR, the support was 740 and the breakout was 8. And you see I made it red. And as soon as I saw the strength in the morning, I told traders, long, triggered, this is your long it, and watch the pullbacks. RKLB gave a pullback to long, pushed to 20. It stopped out. It was not that great of a trade, but it was not a loser either. But the real winner there was LUNR, right? So LUNR was all day trend holding well, and you see the first candle push higher, you take the second candle long, or you take the first candle long. Remember, I gave the 8 breakout. And once we broke out of that 8, the LUNR continued to push. As it started pushing, I told traders to move their stops 880, and it went to 930, right? So even if you're risking what? You're risking 30-40 cents here, and you're making $1, there's 1 risk to 3 reward trade. So LUNR was beautiful trade in the community today. You have to watch these hard sectors. So there was a loser today that we were trying to short Apple in the morning, but it swiped back. You see here. So I gave the traders to short because it was looking weak. Market was going up. It was heavy, but market was so strong that Apple didn't really fade, but it didn't really go up either. It chopped all day, bearish. It popped on the news, failed. So we were bearish, but we couldn't trade it because of this VIX. So we took a loss here, and there was no long. I told traders to not long. Even though we got out of the short, I told traders to not to long it because this is the setup is not working. Right, so there was a loser, but you understand this, and you were not supposed to touch these trades which were weak. Right, this one was weak. Netflix was weak. You need to be in the trade longs where we have Meta, those kind of trades which were all day strength, NVIDIA, rather than going into the Apple. So we had a bunch of other winners in the community today as well. We had CVNA, which was a day 2 long. So CVNA I provided is I have a day 2, day 3 sheet right here. Daily MTF 200 is a key breakout for CVNA. And once CVNA broke out of that 200, that becomes a long. So I gave everybody day 3 long, and CVNA pushed all day long towards 211. You made $10 per share profit. It did chop around here, but it's not dropping down. You can get out, get in, but then you have to use this stop, right? So these things will happen because the main move is done. This is a midday chop. The setup came right here. You could wait for this setup if you were getting chopped out, and then it became a midday setup. MTF to MTF trade, beautiful, flawless MTF and 200 psychological trade. So I often talk about our day 2 strategy. So Nike was also on a day 2, but while FedEx was a long, Nike was a day 2 short. Let's go back to our day 2 plan here. You see that Nike 68 support resistance 1 hour MTF resistance 69.50. Once it breaks here, you take the short because you know that this stock was gapping down and just bounced. It doesn't, what FedEx did, not all the stocks will do that. And then it gave you a nice, easy dollar short, profit on Nike. This was so I told everyone a beautiful short on Nike day 2 here. So next one we're going to look at is Micron, which is MU. So if we look at Micron, it gave a long, day 2 long in the morning. It was also one of our top. And, you can see the guidance here. Pause the screen. You can read it. It was definitely long, but it crossed 1 MTF second, and then it rejected from the 1 hour MTF. So that was the trade you have to get out because there was nothing left in it unless it broke out of the 1 hour cloud. There was another beautiful trade. This was not my written guidance. It was mostly my, guidance on it was on the voice guidance, right? So Snow was a beautiful trade for us because I had shared this daily chart on our Tenet charts that what Snow was doing. You could see that how Snow was setting up this breakout. Yes, it gapped up, but it gapped up right into the MTF. You see both daily MTF also turned bullish. So there was a Snow MTF long, MTF to MTF. It's similar to CVNA, MTF to MTF long. You see that? MTF to MTF long. So that was a beauty. Snow MTF to the MTF long. So next one was APP. So next one was APP. Nothing special, but I want to talk about this daily chart here. So you want to see that, you see this was a similar setup to Snow. We were watching for the long versus 300. Even this chart I tweeted on Tenet charts. Maybe I can show you guys here. Let's see if I can show you. So this was the MTF that I was trying to show you. So APP was 315, 320. I shared it yesterday. Spoiled our gap up, spoiled our trade because it kind of gapped up, but you see that it swiped right from the Ripster 3450 cloud. So look how this Ripster 3450 cloud works. So on point, right? And then you see that it was MTF breakout 50, 55, and then it pushed all day. So there's the power of MTF clouds, guys. That's how we nailed it. Hopefully you had a good day. Take care. See you tomorrow.